I can't wait for it.
Those will go out in the mail tomorrow, I promise.
Oh,
Hi, Santiago.
how you doing, Marsh?
Okay,
Yes, I'm here.
good.
Oh, sit down.
All right, is everyone ready? I'm going to begin the, are you ready, Mr. Powell? I'm ready.
I am, Council
All
President.
right. Adequate notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act pursuant to Public Laws 1975, Chapter 231. This agenda is complete to the extent known and was sent to the Trenton Times and the Trentonian newspapers, posted on the first floor bulletin board in the City Hall, and filed in the City Clerk's office and posted on the City of Trenton's website. Formal action will be taken. Roll call.
Yes, Council President. I'll now call the roll. Mr. Blakely. Mr. Blakely, sir. Ms. Caldwell-Wilson.
Present.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson is present. Mr. Harrison, sir.
Present.
Mr. Harrison is present. Mr. Michal has informed me that due to a personal matter, he would not be here this evening. Mr. Michal, just to call just in case it changed. Mr. Michal is absent. Mr. Rodriguez.
Present.
Ms. Vaughn. Councilmember Vaughn. Councilmember Vaughn is be marked as absent. Council President
She's
McBride.
there.
She is here?
Present. Yes, I seen her on the screen. Oh, I thought I seen her on the screen, but anyways, I'm present.
Yes, ma'am. Council Vice President, there's a lot of feedback coming off of your phone. I apologize.
I don't know why. I'm not near any.
Okay.
It's Councilman Blakely.
Councilman Blakely, I have you here, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And Councilmember Vaughn, are you here, ma'am? Council President, we have a quorum. I will now call the department heads. Mr. Cruz. Business Administrator Cruz, are you here, sir? Mr. Cherry?
Present.
Mr. Cherry is present. Mr. Finale?
Staff.
Okay, Director Cole?
Present.
Thank you, ma'am. Acting Director Mazer?
Present.
Director Delisle?
Present.
Cruz is the Acting Director. Arrived, sir?
Present, yes. Good
Yes,
evening,
sir.
Council.
I'll mark you
Mr. Clerk.
present. Thank you, sir.
Present.
I pledge allegiance to the
To
flag
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
Individual
with
with liberty and justice
for all.
for all.
I have to make some more edits to the September 3rd minutes. They are not complete. I apologize. I thought they would be complete. I will have them and another set of minutes for you at the next meeting. We are working out that process. So I'm pulling the September 3rd minutes again. I apologize. The edits are substantial and there is a reason for them. They've been requested across the board by multiple people, so I want to make sure they're perfect. There was just not enough information in them in the draft that I received, so I am adding information into that. So I apologize for that to the council. There are 21 communications and petitions that were received by the clerk's office. I am seeking so I am seeking approval of the communications and petitions as received.
so moved.
I have a motion by Council Vice President Caldwell-Wilson. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Second, President McBride. All in favor? Petitions as received.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? So ordered. Communications and petitions are received. There are no second reading ordinances for tonight. There are, excuse me, resolutions on the agenda. There is a consent agenda. Do you want to pull anything out of the consent agenda?
I don't, excuse me, Mr. Carr. I apologize. No.
Yeah. We'll do it for title. Uh, 367 Hamilton, $1,000.16.
I have my docket, so you could just give me the numbers.
Yes,
I have to
ma'am.
read the resolution.
Next on the consent agenda is Resolution 20-656. 20-6 20-69. 20-662. 20-662.
Okay, thank
The consent agenda. First off, does any council member wish to pull anything out of the consent agenda?
So
Ma'am?
moved.
you.
Yeah, nobody wishes to pull anything out. I have a motion to approve by Council Vice President Caldwell-Wilson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
I have a second by Councilman Rodriguez. I will now call the roll. Yes, ma'am?
Mm.
Ma'am,
No,
did
no,
you?
no, I was gonna ask the question, on 658. That's a roll call, right?
Ma'am, hold on one second, please. Let me check my notes.
No, it's not.
It is not, ma'am. It's on the consent agenda. Would you like to remove it?
No, I would like to, I would like to, have Mrs. Shonar, if she's on the line, explain why the school bond is included in this. And then I would like for her just to, explain to the public, why we, these
Hello.
available.
Yeah, hello, this is Janet Schoenhardt. On Tuesday, I had Johnson on this resolution. This resolution is, we are bonding notes. And now, only ever, below, and it's no new money. It's just money that we
Just wanted to know about this. Is it,
toward water, sewer, and parking, and then the school bonds, and from the school. Borrowing for
I'm
thank you.
thank you.
Mhm.
Council President, do you have any further to keep that in the consent agenda, ma'am?
Yes,
Okay, I have a motion to the consent agenda. Vice President Caldwell Rodriguez, and I call the roll. Councilman Blakely. Council Vice President Caldwell Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Harrison.
Yes.
Mr. Michelle is absent today. Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn.
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn has voted yes. Council President McBride.
yes.
So ordered. The consent agenda has been approved. Next, we will move on to the roll call resolutions. ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am, we do have a walk-on resolution from the administration. Would you like to hear that at the end, or would you like to? First, we have Resolution 20-652, a resolution authorizing emergency appropriations to the state fiscal year 2021 temporary budget of the City of Trenton current fund in an amount of $561,000. Floor is open for debate.
And that is for,
I don't know who roll called this.
I cannot recall, ma'am, but this was roll call.
which one is that?
This is Resolution 20-652. It's an emergency appropriation to the temporary budget of $561,000 for police O&E, shared service O&E, telephone O&E, and fire O&E. And that's operating and expenses. Operating expenses.
Okay. So,
Council
I would like
President?
to make a, if there's no question. Yeah, go right ahead, Councilman.
It was roll call by Mr. Santiago.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All righty, so you can move forward with the vote.
Yes, I have a motion by Council President McBride. Do I have a second?
Nice. I like it.
Second,
I have a second by Councilmember Vaughn. I'll now call the roll. Mr. Blakely.
Yes.
Council Vice President Caldwell-Wilson.
Yes.
Councilmember Harrison.
Yes.
Mr. Michelle is absent. Councilmember Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilmember Vaughn.
yes.
Councilmember McBride. Council President
Yes.
McBride, my apologies. Yes, Councilman President votes yes. So ordered. Next, we have Resolution 20-653, a resolution authorizing amendment number 2 to the contract with the law offices of Rainone, Coughlin, and Mincello LLC to continue providing professional legal services regarding labor and employment matters in an amount not to exceed $45,000.
So, I have a question that I would
Yeah, I
like
have a
to ask.
question.
Go right ahead, Councilwoman Vaughn.
Yeah, I requested this one to be roll called because I wanted the administration, I reviewed the resolution, and I'm not clear on why this particular law firm, because like all others, this was approved, they were given their contract, and I believe their contract was a very, was valued, an amount that was relatively decent that could get them through a full 12 months. But here we are. I believe we renewed their contract at the top of the fiscal year, which is July 1st. And here we are, not even 6 months into the fiscal year, and they're coming back for another $45,000. So can someone from the law department, Peter Cohen on the line, and the business administrator, can explain the rationale for this law firm coming back to the coffers of the city for $45,000 more after giving the contract back in July?
Madam President, if I may.
Yes, go right ahead, Mr. Cruz, business administrator.
All right. Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, Council. So this resolution is actually the resolution to close out last year's contract. The amount that you see in front of you is actually the closing of the 2020 fiscal year contract. It expired on June 30th. They did all of their closing invoices, and we needed an additional $45,000 to close out that year. Unfortunately, because we cannot proceed with providing them the funding, this actually has created a problem for us, and we cannot continue to negotiate with the unions and continue with the investigations that we have internally, because the law firm is concerned that the city has come to not pay them for a couple of months already. So they are very antsy, and they are afraid that we are not going to be able to provide payment. And so I'm asking the council to please consider it. As you are aware, this resolution was up a couple of meetings ago, and it didn't pass. It was actually 3-3. But the request of the council was to provide the invoices, and Madam Vice President was actually came to my office and reviewed all of the invoices, and we provided copies of the invoices. And I believe the Vice President is actually, I believe she's under the agreement, if I'm not putting words in her mouth, that the invoices are factual. I would leave that to the Vice President to explain to the council, being that the council, I guess, asked that Ms. Caldwell Wilson come on your behalf and review the invoices.
Okay,
So
I just have, Council President, I just want to finish very quickly. Well, again, I'm looking at you said that it's for closing out fiscal year 2020, right?
Yes, it's actually for closing the month of May and the month of June.
Yeah, but here we are. It doesn't say that. What it says here is to continue providing professional legal services regarding labor and employment matters in an amount not to exceed $45,000. So is it to close out? Because if it's to close out, then it should state that clearly and transparently that resolution 20-653 is to close for this law firm, Hoffman and Mantello, is to close out for fiscal year 2020. But it doesn't say that. It says to continue providing professional legal services, and it doesn't even say for what fiscal year. Rather, this was last year, 2020 or 2021. Now, with all due respect, I mean, I can't vote on this because it's not even properly written up, and I don't know what it's for, to be honest. I really don't know what it's for. Either it's for fiscal year, either close it out, you have to state that that's what it is, because no one knows.
Yes, sir.
It states in the...
And Council President and Council Vice President, I don't know if I've been making myself clear, but these are housekeeping items that we can't continue to accept. They have to come, the administration or anyone, council members, whoever introducing they have to provide clear guidance, clear definitions of what they're proposing. Because this resolution says it's completely different from what Mr. Cruz just explained.
Councilwoman, if you look at the resolution, the fourth whereas towards the closing of the whereas, I thought it was clear where it says in the amount not to exceed $45,000 to cover invoicing through June 30th, 2020, and to close out contract awarded through Resolution 1945, 425 and RFP 19-20. And then the next whereas, the fifth whereas, pretty much also state the same thing. Funds in the amount of $45,000 have been certified to be available in the account number. It mentioned the account number, and it says July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2020. So it's two references on the resolution that states that it's actually for that calendar year. I mean, for that fiscal year. So it's there.
Council President, thank you, Mr. Cruz. I have nothing further, Council President.
Council President, if I may.
Yes, Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson.
Yes, I did go into City Hall and I did review very diligently all of the invoices because I had previously, I was one of the votes that caused this not to pass the last time, but I actually agreed that these were bona fide bills that for money they have paid, and the body of the resolution does spell it all out.
Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman Caldwell Wilson.
Thank you.
Council President?
Yes, go right ahead, Councilman Harrison.
It's This is the law firm that's working on the AFSCME, right? AFSCME contract?
That is correct,
Mr.
yes.
Cruz?
Yes, that is
Thank
correct,
you.
Councilman.
Thank you so much.
Go right ahead, Mr. Conlon. You may continue.
Yes, ma'am. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
I have a motion by Caldwell Wilson, the Council Vice President Caldwell Wilson. I have a second by Mr. Harrison. I'll call the roll. Mr. Blakely.
Yes.
Council Vice President Caldwell Wilson.
Yes.
Councilmember Harrison.
Yes.
Councilmember Michelle is absent. Councilmember Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilmember Vaughn.
No.
Council President McBride.
Yes.
I'm sorry, ma'am, I did not hear you.
Yes. Yes.
Councilmember President McBride votes yes. Thank you. Next, we have Resolution 20-654, resolution authorizing an amendment to the contract with the law office of Florio, Kenny, and Raval, LLP, 125 Chubb Avenue, Suite 310, North Lindenhurst, New Jersey, 07071, to provide continued professional legal services regarding general, municipal, and defense litigation matters in an amount not to exceed $9,869.50.
So I have a question. I wanted to ask that question on the previous resolution. And my question is, once the resolution fails, how many times do they get to bring it back? Once the resolution fails, how many times do they get to continuously bring the resolution back?
Madam President, this is a business administrator. For the previous resolution, it was actually 3 and 3 and 1 abstain, so it didn't fail.
Okay, for this,
It wasn't tabled, I'm sorry.
Which one was, so for this particular one, did it fail? 20-654.
I don't have the votes from the previous time on this
I'm
resolution.
checking the record, ma'am. Just give me 1 second. Ma'am, this one likewise was a 3-3 vote with you abstaining. It does fail on a tie. It is an outstanding bill, so there are questions with regard to the rules of procedure as A316. Technically, according to those rules of procedure, it is 1 year before it comes back, but I think that the council wanted to see bills on these on the first one. I'm not sure if they wanted to see anything on this second one, and I think ultimately it would be up to you to allow it or to not allow it. And because you abstained last time, if you wanted to defer to the council vice president, certainly you have that option.
Council President McBride?
Yes, Councilwoman Vaughn.
Again, this has the same description as in 20-653, that it says for continued professional legal service regarding general, municipal, and defense litigation matters in an amount not to exceed $9,000. So, again, I would just like to have the summary docket. Isn't this the docket that we distribute to the public? Mr. Collin?
Say again, ma'am?
Is this the docket that is this a document, the summary page? It's called the docket. Is this what we share with the public minus the detail?
Well, yeah, we provide the agenda and we provide the, the docket, which has, the listing of the communications petitions, the resolutions, the ordinances.
Right. So I just want to make it noted on the record that the description on the docket that was shared with the public reads as if though this is a continued contract. It does not tell the public or describe what Mr. Cruz is talking about now. Now, I think the taxpayers need more transparency and clarity. We cannot present one set of rationale and then say, oh, but it's in the resolution. But we never allowed the public to see that resolution. So I'm not voting for this until we get it right, until the public gets a clear understanding of what we're paying. We're paying a external entity $9,869. We are telling them that it's being for to provide continued professional legal service regarding general, municipal, and defense litigation. But in essence, it's to extend payment because they overbilled. They did more work than they said they thought they were going to do, and they exceeded the value of their contract for fiscal year 2020. So now we got to give them an extra, I'm just rounding, 10 grand. So the public needs to know that. Because if you're extending, if you're over the amount that your contract was originally approved, I think that should be made clear to the public. And right now it isn't. And I don't even know why we shouldn't even be voting on this, because we haven't made this transparent to the public. I will be voting no on this as well.
Well, this particular contract says that they've exhausted all their funding, and the funding was allocated to them in July, and so in 3 months. 3 months they spent in 3 months they spent $60,000, and I just don't understand why they're making $20,000 a month off of the resident Trenton. Alan, you may move forward with trying to get a motion.
Yes, ma'am. I just have 2 points of information for the council first. According to A316, it's Rule 19, according to the procedures of council, Section I, and I'm not, I can leave this to the legal department to discuss with you if you want to solicit their opinion, but it says any resolution or ordinance put forth by any council member which has been defeated shall not be reintroduced for a period of 1 year following the vote on said ordinance or resolution. This was put forward on September 17th by Mr. Mushal. It was defeated 3-3. It failed for lack of a majority. With you abstaining in that matter. Just that was for a point of information. So if you are going to allow this to move forward, I would like to ask for a motion then. Is there a motion on the floor to introduce Resolution 20-654? Mr. Blakely, was that you, sir?
Yes.
Mr. Blakely has a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Harrison. I will now call the roll. Mr. Blakely.
Yes.
Council Vice President Caldwell-Wilson.
She's on mute. She has to unmute herself.
Yeah, she might.
I'm sorry, because I did review all these legal bills, which every council member has the opportunity to do, and I went in and reviewed them, and these are for services rendered, and I voted against it the last time, but we do have to pay our bills. So I vote yes.
Yes, ma'am.
This doesn't say services rendered. This said that because they've exhausted all their funding. That's what the resolution says.
Just a point of information. After that, it does say is necessary to cover the services rendered through June 2020, which will bring the total contract amount with this $9,000 to $69,869.50. So prior to this, it was for $60,000. Mr. Harrison, your vote, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Mushal is absent. Mr. Rodriguez, your vote, sir.
No.
Mr. Rodriguez votes no. Councilmember Vaughn, your vote, ma'am.
Can I say something before my vote, Mr. Collins?
No, you need to vote. You need to vote, Councilwoman.
Well, what's the rules of procedure? Can I
Well,
not?
procedure would be once the vote is entered, once the vote is in progress, that you must vote.
Okay.
I was waiting to see if Council President would give you leeway.
No,
but,
okay, no problem. She declined, so I will vote. No.
Councilmember Vaughn votes no. Council President McBride.
No.
Council President McBride votes no. And it is a 3-3. The motion fails. Next, we have resolution 20-632. These were based upon the presentations that were made by Mr. Delisle's Housing and Economic Development Department for two projects. I actually forwarded to you, I had requested from the developers the PowerPoints that were presented on Tuesday. I forwarded those earlier today, or either late yesterday or earlier today, to the council, just so you can get another look at them, and for the benefit of Council President McBride, who had an emergency on Tuesday. So that being said,
I would just like to make a statement on 20-632
yes,
and
ma'am.
20-633. And I would just like to say, based on the restraining order that the administration has on the council and myself, my opinion is that I do not want to cast a vote until this is settled out in court. I don't believe any redevelopment project should move forward or come before this body until this matter is resolved in the courts. And Delisle could be offering to build the Taj Mahal down in the middle of the city of Trenton. And until this is resolved in the courts, I don't believe that it should be on the docket. I was not here on Tuesday to express that concern, but that is my concern. It should not be brought before this body as long as there is a court appearance waiting to hear this matter. And so with that, I will not entertain this until the courts determine where the redevelopment authority should be and what our role is as redevelopment authority.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
my statement.
Yes, ma'am. I will now read 2632 into the record before we proceed. I have to put the resolution on the floor. 20-632, a resolution designated Nicolay Group LLC as redeveloper of property located at Block 401, lots 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, at 141, 143-145, 147, 149, 151, 153, and 155 North Broad Street within the Canal Banks redevelopment area plan.
Council President?
Yes, sir, right ahead.
Yeah, I would like to refer to the legal department because I thought we got a decision done today that the decision was that we couldn't negotiate contracts. It didn't prevent us from hearing presentations and voting on issues.
That makes no sense.
Excuse me?
That makes no sense.
I'm asking the legal department.
Yes, ma'am, and please don't interrupt the council member's time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. Ms. Abdur-Razak, we cannot hear you. I'm sorry. Whoever's speaking, Sally Samuel, is that you? Council President, did you want to recognize someone from the legal department to answer Council Vice President's query?
Definitely.
Hi, yes, hi, it's Sally Samuel on behalf of the legal department.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Conlon. Thank you, Madam President and Madam Vice President. As I had indicated on Tuesday, when I read from the order, that there are injunctions that pertain to council with regard to redevelopment, but that hearing presentations is not a part of the injunctive relief that was, provided through the court, that you are still allowed to operate pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law and to hear presentations from redevelopers, which is what you did on Tuesday. And you are, in line with that, allowed to vote with regard to proposed redevelopment matters from redevelopers.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Council Vice President.
Council President McBride.
Yes, Councilwoman Vaughn.
I don't know what that source that Ms. Samuels is referencing. But yes, we understand what the Faulkner Act and what the New Jersey local redevelopment law is. And under that law, yep, you are correct, Ms. Samuels. The council has the, by statute, to ability to, has been granted by statute to do all those things. And then some. So nowhere in that order, I mean, in that, the submission that Mr. Florio, that's representing the mayor, filed his motion with the court, New Jersey Superior Court. Nowhere did the judge or any officer of the court came back and said what the terms are and what limitations the council have and what we can proceed to do and what roles we can do and perform until the court hearing, until the judge have made her ruling. And what you're being here as you speak to the public of this city is being disingenuous, and you're misinforming the council. You're giving us erroneous legal advice, and you're misrepresenting the court case that the mayor has filed against this council as relates to our role as a redeveloper. And it's absolutely shameful. So I'm just saying that, Council President, I would appreciate that if you and the Vice President Caldwell Wilson exercise your powers to take this off the docket until the court has heard this case. Thank you.
President.
If I can I just respond to that, Madam President? This is Sally Samuels again, because Councilwoman Vaughn raised the issue of what I was referring. Yes, yes, Samuel. Yes, Council President.
I please, I did not hear the floor to you. I'm going to move on to the council. Yes, Councilman Blakely.
Thank you. So I would like to know where Mrs. Samuels quoted the language that she referenced on Tuesday, and I also have a follow-up comment as well. But I wanted to just start my commentary off with that inquiry.
Council President, can I respond to the councilman's question?
Yes, you can, but please wait until the floor is yielded to you, Mrs. Samuels, before you begin to make any statement.
Absolutely. I apologize, Councilwoman. There's a little bit of a delay, and so it was not my intention to intrude on the conversation. Let me state that I am reading from the filed order of the court. I have a copy of it in front of me, and that is where I took the information from. The council is only precluded or enjoined from acting unilaterally. It is not enjoined or precluded from, as I indicated, and I read from the section of the order, from having presentations made to council on redevelopment matters, and from also acting in accordance with the local redevelopment and housing law, NJSA 40A:12A-4C. I'm sorry, 4A 1 and 2, and also 4A 3. And so I am not just arbitrarily taking information, from a cloud. I'm reading actually from the order that was signed by the judge and filed with the court.
Ms. Samuel, thank you so much. So I'm just going to say this because folks can vote their conscience, but this city is challenged in many ways. This city is an island of poverty in a sea of affluence. We are by far the poorest and least developed municipality in this region. And we have a developer that wants to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, into our downtown that is barren at night, that is a ghost town in some parts of the day. And for my colleagues to serve as impediments to this development proposal that is led by a Trenton native who has already invested in this city is flabbergasting. It's perplexing. My colleague, Councilwoman Vaughn, made a reference to some statement that we're not able to vote on this. Mrs. Samuel from the law department made it very clear. She read from the court's filing that our status as the final decider as it relates to development is not impacted by the injunction from the Superior Court. And so to say anything else when the record says clearly otherwise is what is disingenuous. I don't understand why it's served as an impediment for this development. This is an African-American owned developer. They are a Trenton, they have already contributed to this community in a massive way philanthropically. And for us to serve as an impediment to this very, very exciting proposal is a clear indication that this council should not have the power of final authority as a redevelopment agency, and that we should give this authority to an independent board that would exercise better judgment to make these decisions. Fundamentally, this is an opportunity that will invest in the economic fabric of this community as well as the educational fabric of our community. And for us to say no is just unbelievable. There are not many African-American developers who do work in this city. In fact, my colleagues spend so much time talking about the lack of opportunities for Trenton natives and people who are connected to this community. And when they are presented with a development proposal from a Trenton native, someone who has invested in this community, the fact that they would serve to stop that for what are clearly bogus reasons as outlined by the law department is shocking and shameful, and further evidence of the lack of judgment of my colleagues. They can do what they want. At the end of the day, our community is going to suffer. And I just want to say this last thing, because it's important to reiterate again. Fundamentally, my colleagues are hanging their hat on a bogus allegation. They're saying that because of this injunction, this city council cannot approve any redevelopment or vote on any redevelopment matters or proposals. That is a lie. And anyone who says that is a liar. The Samuels just outlined that it was not correct. She recited on Tuesday the language. And so anybody who says differently is a liar. And not only are they exercising incredible bad judgment, they're stopping development in this city, which we need in very, very serious ways. And so we should not engage in lies. We should engage with the truth. And the truth is, we can vote on this proposal just like we can vote on all development proposals. And to not vote on this is an abrogation of their responsibility to be good stewards of the redevelopment process in this city. They're refusing to do their job. And if they're not willing to do their job, shame on them for not doing their job and focusing on bringing development to a city. And one last thing, and I'll just say this. My colleagues, one last thing. I'm going to wrap it up. We have lots of violence in this city, a lot of violence in this city. We are on pace to break the record of murders. And some of my colleagues love to go out into the community and pray on corners to
Does that have anything to do with the resolution? No.
It sure does. Don't interrupt.
Mr. Collin?
I'm getting to my point. I'm going to finish my point. There's a direct connection. The reason for much of the violence in this city is because we don't have development. And we don't have economic activity to the way that we should have. You can pray the violence away, or you can bring economic, when that's not working, because people have been dying in this city while folks have been praying on these corners for years. At the same time, we have an opportunity to change the economic dynamic in our downtown region that could possibly reduce crime in this city, and they are refusing to do it. So don't judge what they say, don't judge how they pray, judge what they do, and judge the facts. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Council President.
So I would just like to make a statement, and then we can move on. And this is my statement. The administration has taken the council to court because the council has full authority over the redevelopment. We're not saying that, oh, we don't want any redevelopment to come into our city. What I am saying is that the director and the administration should not have brought these resolutions forward until this matter is resolved in court. Now, the administration took the council to court. The council didn't take the administration to court. You can't have it both ways. Now, so with all of that grandstanding and calling indirect insults to people, that is not what I'm going to do. What I am going to say is redevelopment and redevelopers are welcome in the city, but this body needs to get through this court proceeding before we go any further. And Mr. Delisle should not have brought these resolutions onto this docket until we resolve all the matters into the court that the administration took us into, not vice versa. So until then, these redevelopers will have all the opportunity to come back after the 13th of November when this matter is heard in the court system. Then we can, as far as I am concerned, then we can cast our vote at that particular time. And until then, I don't think they need to bring any redevelopment projects in front of us until the judge has rendered a decision. And with that said, Mr. Collin, we can move forward.
Council President.
With the vote.
Yeah, but Council
Mr.
President.
Harris would like to be recognized, ma'am. He hasn't.
Yeah, I like the record. Right.
Like to recognize
Right. Just to let everybody know, 20-632 is the Turning Point Discovery Center for kids. They're going to have 50% of their the people that are going to work there are going to be from on the job site or be from Trenton. 20-633 is the vessel. It's going to be green products. It's moving the city of Trenton forward. So at the end of the day, we're talking a lot of things here, but these are developments that are actually for children and for moving the city forward. Why would we not do that? Doesn't make sense. Thank you.
Mr. Collins, continue.
Yes, ma'am. Do I have an introduction for Resolution 20-632?
So move.
So moved.
Introduction by
Second.
Mr. Blakely. Do I have a second? I have a second by Mr. Harrison. I'll now call the roll. Mr. Blakely.
Yes.
Council Vice President Caldwell Wilson.
Yes.
Councilmember Harrison.
Yes.
Councilmember Michelle is absent. Councilmember Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilmember Vaughn.
No.
Councilmember McBride. Council President McBride.
No.
Council
No.
President McBride votes no. The resolution passes 4-2. Next, we have Resolution 20-633, a resolution designating the Vessel Technologies, Inc. as redeveloper of property located at Block 501, lots 13, 14, and 15, 121 to 125 Perry Street, within the Canal Banks redevelopment area plan. Floor is open for debate. Council President, nobody...
Seeing none, you may continue.
Yes, ma'am. Do I
You
have a
may
motion?
continue.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Harrison. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Blakely. I'll now call the roll. Mr. Blakely.
Yes.
Right, Council Vice President Caldwell Wilson.
Yes.
Councilmember Harrison.
Yes.
Councilmember Michelle is absent. Councilmember Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilmember Vaughn.
No.
Councilmember Vaughn votes no. Councilmember McBride.
No.
4-2, the resolution is carried. So ordered. Next, we have Resolution 20-661. A resolution authorizing an amendment to the contract with the law office of Riker, Danzig, Scherer, Highland, and Peretti, LLP, to provide professional legal services regarding litigation with the Department of Environmental Protection in an amount not to exceed $200,000. Floor is open for debate.
Council President,
Yes, go right ahead.
is this the council's, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay. Yeah, is this the council's special water attorney that we're fighting with the DEP in the lawsuit against the city? Is that what this is? Can somebody explain that? Well, I didn't hear that. What was that, Mr. Cruz? Or somebody? I heard somebody say something. Sorry about that. I didn't hear that.
Madam President, if I may.
Yes, go right ahead, Mr. Cruz.
Yes, the services are for the attorney, and I believe you have been in communication with him at some point. But this is the attorney who is litigating the case against DEP on behalf of the city and council.
Any other questions, sir?
Other question is, should we be seeking early settlement instead of looking for prolonged litigation? That's my question, Mr. Cruz.
I'm sorry, I cannot give you that advice. I will have to leave that to the law department to make that statement.
And settlement negotiations should probably be discussed in executive session, sir. It's under the executive privilege for executive session under attorney-client privilege.
Madam President,
Yes. Yes, Councilman Rodriguez.
I have a question. The original, according to the resolution, the original contract was for $75,000, and it more than doubled now to $200,000. Okay, there. It went from 75,000 to 200,000.
Is someone responding because I can't hear them?
I hear somebody in the background talking.
Whoever in the background we can't hear you.
Mr. Blakely has something going on in the background that is carrying through our microphones.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine. I'm sending you an email about it right now.
Council President, Madam President, I'm sorry. The attorney is for the municipal council and is for, I believe his name is Ed DeHope.
And this is Colin Cherry, if I may, Madam President.
Yes, go right ahead, Mr. Cherry.
Councilman, you are correct that this dollar amount is going to $200,000 based on an estimate we have for the amount of litigation that we are likely to engage in this year with Mr. DeHope.
Council President, could I just speak on this one? Because, yes, Council President, can I have the floor?
Yes, go right ahead, Councilwoman Vaughn.
Yes, Mr. DeHope was contracted to represent the council, but ultimately the city of Trenton, right? And Trenton Waterworks against the lawsuit, again, that the mayor was involved in with DEP to argue that we should have passed $108 million worth of bonds, and that he did not want to do a forensic audit and etc. So the initial contract of $75,000 was to get Mr. DeHope and represent the council in our interests, in our concerns of not passing those bonds and getting the administration to get more governance and fiscal responsibility around Trenton Waterworks. So that court hearing had already taken place that we had given the first initial contract for $75,000. Now, my understanding is that there is further litigation that still has to be resolved over the next few months because DEP still has to, there's still obligations that the city and Trenton Waterworks has to meet that was part of that same court filing. So that contract had to be, I would assume, had to be increased because Mr. DeHope's scope of work has also increased. And that's the skinny on that.
Councilman Rodriguez, do you have any more questions?
Well, I still find it more than double, and I don't see the name DeHope in here at all. I see two different writers, Lancet.
DeHope is one of the partners. Mr. DeHope is one of the associate lawyers in the law firm of Councilman Rodriguez.
What? Go ahead. That's it.
Madam President, Business Administrator again. I just want to make a very small statement. Councilwoman Vaughn is actually correct with her statement that that Mr. Hope is actually one of the associates of the firm, and this law firm is actually representing the council, we are barely in the beginning stages right now of this lawsuit, and they are in the discovery phase. And it's, we're still, there's a high potential that we will be going to trial on this. So the amount we feel that is going to be coming is actually large, and so these $200,000 will probably get enough money for council, not for the administration, because the administration has their own attorney, for council to be covered.
Madam
All right, you
President,
made,
I would like-
you can continue a
Yes, ma'am.
motion.
do I have a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Blakely. I have a second by Council Vice President Caldwell Wilson. I will now call the roll. Mr. Blakely.
Yes.
Council Vice President Caldwell Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Harrison.
No.
Mr. Harrison votes no. Mr. Michelle is absent. Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn.
Yes.
Council,
Council President McBride.
Mr. Clerk, I'd like to change.
Yes.
Mr. Clerk, Mr. Conlon, I'd like to change my vote.
Go ahead, sir.
No, I want to change it to no.
The ayes have it, 4-2. One absent. Resolution carries. 20-6061 is approved. Next, we have Resolution 20-664, resolution authorizing an amendment, number one, to the contract with Jacobs Engineering Group, Inc., to provide design and bid services in an amount not to exceed $18,750 through RFP 2020-28.
Oh, this is the, Council President, may I have the floor?
Yes, sir.
I had roll called this, and actually, I thought I did instruct that we should have added it to the consent agenda because I believe Mr. Cruz gave a thorough explanation as to what the services this company is going to provide. So that's all I had to say. So, yeah. It should have been part of the consent agenda. I thought I was clear on that on Tuesday.
Actually, the one that you had called back was resolution number 20-662, which you initially called for roll call, but then you actually had drawn that back.
Yeah, isn't that the one we speaking on?
No, we're actually on resolution 20-664. Resolution 20-662.
Oh, I'm sorry.
On the consent agenda. I just wanted to make a clarification, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what you meant. So this is resolution 20-664. I'll read it into the record once again. Resolution authorizing an amendment number one to the contract with Jacobs Engineering Group, Inc. to provide design and bid services in an amount not to exceed $18,750 through RFP 2020-28.
Yes, Council President, may I have the floor, please?
Yes, there
This
was
is yes. This is a resolution that I did request to be roll called because I do have some concerns again that this is authorizing an amendment to the contract. And I think the initial contract is a 6-figure contract with Jacobs Engineering. And Mr. Lavenberg did mention on Tuesday during the conference session that he's amending it because this design requirement.
Real briefly, and I just wanted to see if you wanted to.
Okay, who's speaking? You are.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm really glad.
Oh, it's Mr. Blakely. Okay, Councilmember Vaughn, I apologize.
Okay.
Please continue.
So Mr. Lavenberg mentioned on Tuesday during a conference session that he amended the umbrella contract, so to speak, or the initial contract that is a 6-figure contract with this organization, and he added an additional requirement of this company to provide the design of a particular, mechanism over at Trenton Waterworks. So I find it concerning that a scope has increased on a particular contract that was already agreed, and then a director can go back and say, I want to include this into the contract, which was not which was not initially agreed upon. So I think this goes outside the process, and Mr. Lavenberg mentioned that, well, it's only $18,000, and it's only just to add some design services, and we don't want to go out to RFP just to add those additional services that we would want Jacobson Engineering to perform. But I don't really, support that we should start. I think we're going down a slippery slope when we start changing requirements in terms of a contract that were initially agreed, and we start adding on additional requirements in this manner. I think it should go out to RFP and get a good understanding what the requirement is for Trenton Water Works for this design. And I think that this is circumventing the process, because I'm sure potentially, depending on if I had a full understanding of what type of design we're looking for from this engineering group, that's costing, as you know, a small $18,000. I think $18,000 is a lot of money, and actually it exceeds the threshold of $17,500, which is defined in the New Jersey contracts law. So this should not be an amendment, and that's all I have to say, Council President.
You may continue with the vote, Mr. Conlon.
Yes, ma'am. Do I have an introduction?
So moved.
I have an introduction.
Second.
Council Vice President Caldwell Wilson, a second by Mr. Harrison. If you please wait till I call for the second now. Mr. Blakely. Mr. Blakely, your vote, sir. We'll come back to Mr. Blakely. Council Vice President Caldwell Wilson.
Yes.
Councilmember Harrison.
Yes.
Councilmember Michelle is absent. Councilmember Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilmember Vaughn.
No.
Council President McBride.
No.
I'll go to Mr. Blakely. Did you want me to go to Mr. Blakely first, ma'am? I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, do you want to vote first, and then I'll go to Mr. Blakely?
I've
My
already
apologies.
cast my vote, so
You voted no, ma'am?
yes, I did.
Okay. Mr. Blakely, sir, your vote? Mr. Blakely, sir, your vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Blakely votes yes. The ayes have it 4-2, with one absent. The motion is enacted by COVID-19. I'm getting feedback from somebody, Mr. Blakely. Whereas counties and municipalities excluded from the federal government's direct CRF allocation plan, as well as those counties and municipalities that are currently the most impacted by COVID-19 in comparison to their available resources, are eligible for LGEF funds pursuant to a maximum distribution determined by formula. And whereas a total of $60 million is currently being made available under the program, with a potential $60 million more to be allocated. And whereas LGEF grants exist to support costs incurred as part of a local unit's response to COVID-19. Whereas no financial match is required to receive funding. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the City of Trenton and the City of Trenton that the City of Trenton will apply for LGEF grant in the amount of $3,002,552. Be it further resolved that the mayor, administrator, and clerk are hereby authorized to sign the grant agreement on behalf of the City of Trenton, and that their signature constitutes acceptance of the terms and conditions of the grant agreement and approves the execution of the grant agreement. And then it has an attestation clause that's attached. The attestation clause must say, my signature and the clerk's seal serve to acknowledge the above resolution and constitute acceptance of the terms and conditions of the grant agreement and approve the execution of the grant agreement as authorized by resolution above. Attest and fix seal, city clerk and mayor. That is the resolution in its entirety. The floor is open for debate. If the council has good business as a walk-on, if council has any questions for Mr. Cruz or any of the other members, please feel free to ask. Thank you.
Yes, Council President?
Yes, go right ahead, Councilwoman Vaughn.
Yeah, I read, thank you, Mr. Cullen, for that. I have some questions to the administration, and I mean, it's great that we're getting this additional funding allocated to the city to continue to flatten the curve of COVID-19. But there's a clause in there that Mr. Cullen read and that I read regarding New Jersey or the state, New Jersey Department of Community Affairs and the state. There's some terms for the municipality to agree upon, upon acceptance of the money, of the funds. So, Mr. Cullen, did you receive those terms?
I received a background, a pamphlet on the CARES Act with the background information that outlines the program parameters and a memorandum from Mr. Cruz. I believe it's from Mr. Cruz. It's to actually Adam Cruz from Chris Mazer, the Acting Director of Fire and Emergency Services. That memorandum was sent to council earlier today. There was a 20-page attachment to the email with the signed resolution and the memorandum, which outlined the parameters. I don't know into what depth it went into the terms and conditions of accepting the money. I'm sure Mr. Cruz can explain with the
Okay. So is the law department on the line?
They are, ma'am.
So is it Ms. Samuels who's representing the law department this evening?
It is, ma'am.
It's either Ms. Samuels or Jacqueline Abdul-Razak.
So did either party, Ms. Abdul-Razak or Ms. Samuels, read the terms of this agreement and can share with the city and this council what those terms are before we vote on accepting the funds into our municipality?
Are you talking about the walk-on information?
Yes, I'm talking about the walk-on. I'm talking about the terms of agreement, which is in essence a contract that we would need the law department to have read and reviewed and provide us guidance.
I was not forwarded a copy of the walk-on resolution.
Ms. Samuels?
Yes, Councilwoman Vaughn, I do not have a copy of the walk-on resolution as well.
It's actually signed by Peter Cohen of the law department, so I apologize that Mr. Cohen did not forward that to you.
Okay, so Peter's not here to give the council.
I'm going to forward it to Ms. Abdul-Razak and Ms. Samuels as we speak.
So the council is asked again to vote in the dark with no legal guidance, and we are just to say we're supposed to just have confidence that everything is okay. So because the law department never sent over their opinion. I don't know what Peter signed on to, but the council has an obligation to understand those terms before we vote on it. I don't understand why the law department, per statute, is supposed to represent the council and supposed to make sure that we are deliberating and voting with sound legal advice. So, Mr. Cruz, perhaps, I don't want it is not Mr. Cruz' a duty to do that. It's not even in his scope of responsibility. And we have two representatives from the law department who have not even read have not read or can even provide us an opinion this evening. And I just hope that we as a council, we cannot continue just to say yes, 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 when we are deprived information, because we could be putting the taxpayers of the city at risk. When you know you don't have that information, when you know you don't understand the terms, and you're going to go and vote yes, because. I'm disappointed again in our law department, who has once again do not come to these meetings prepared to represent the council and the city. And that's their job and role by statute, by law.
Ma'am, I have the attachment. There are some of the terms and conditions. If you like, I can read them.
No. That's not your role. That's the law department's role. That's what they're getting. That's what the taxpayers, that's what we, the taxpayers of the city of Trenton, are paying them for. We shouldn't have to go out as council and engage in contract with outside legal counsel. The law department is there for this council. And they sit here tonight, and say they have...
Really on.
Who's on?
Please do not interrupt the council member again. Thank you, or you will be removed from the meeting.
Who said that? Who said that?
I don't
I want to know who said that. Because if I think who I think it is, it sounds, I believe, if that's who I think it is, shame on that person.
Well, okay, so let's get to the crux of the...
So anyways, what is the deadline on that for a municipality to accept those funds, Mr. Collin?
I believe, according to the application, DLGS will evaluate all local government emergency fund applications.
I can't hear you because someone is...
May I can help you. I'm sorry. May I speak, Madam President?
She can give better information than I can, ma'am.
Yes.
If anybody not speaking can please mute their devices. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm sorry. This is Jacqueline Abdul-Razak. They wanted to know when the applications must be received no later than November 10th, 2020, and all reimbursement requests must be submitted no later than December 10th. This is a grant from the state. So with respect to a grant, thank God you don't have to pay a grant back. It's to help the citizens because of the emergent situation with respect to COVID-19. As we're all aware, there has been an explosion of new COVID-19 cases, and what the state is doing and what the government is doing is trying to render aid. The city of Trenton, it looks like, is eligible, again, suffering from fiscal stress, severe fiscal stress. As you know, the whole city hall was shut down due to a COVID outbreak, and we had to be tested. This is very costly. Again,
that's not what I asked. Council President.
I was asked of the dates again and again.
And you said the dates. I'm aware of all the things that you're talking about now. I just, for time's sake, I don't need that to be reiterated. I got the dates. Thank you. The other question I had of the law department, Ms. Abdul-Razak, what's the terms? What is the state terms? Are they asking for our the 84,000 citizens of the city of Trenton? Are they asking for a trade-off in our transitional aid? Are they going to deduct it from our transitional aid? Like, what are they going to do with this? What is the terms? What are the terms for us accepting this grant? That's my only question.
Again, it says that they will reimburse you up to $3 million for everything.
That's not what I'm asking. I understand. I read.
Those are the terms.
Excuse me. I need to say something, Mr. Conlon.
Yes,
there's a lot of disruption in the background. If you could try to pinpoint where some of that is coming from.
I'm working on that as we speak, ma'am. I believe some of it is actually coming from Ms. Abdul-Razak's background in her room. But I'm trying to locate where other issues of feedback are coming through.
Okay, so to be clear, the question is, what are the terms in the contract? In the 20-page contract, could you outline the terms of the agreement? That's what the question is for the law department. And Peter signed it. Let me ask you this, Mr. Collin. When is the next scheduled council meeting?
I believe, ma'am, it is the 12th of November.
And so the application is due back on the 10th. So this is what I would suggest. I would suggest that Mrs. Samuel and Mrs. Abdur Razad take the time while we're in executive session to read the terms and conditions. And when we come out of the executive session, maybe it'll be, we'll have a clearer understanding of what the terms and conditions are. Is it possible for you guys to read that within that time span? Mrs. Samuel, Mrs. Razak?
Council President, yes, I will try to review it while you're in executive session.
Okay, and then I think that would help us out if you could review it and then be able just to give us some outlines of the terms and of the contract. Okay.
Yes, ma'am, and there's been no introduction, so we don't actually have to table this at this point in time. We can go to executive session and come right back to it.
All righty. Thank you, Mrs. Samuel. Thank you, Mrs. Razak.
Thank you, Madam President.
Madam President, there is a substantial amendment to the executive session resolution. I'd like to read it into the record.
Please do.
This is Resolution 20-665, a resolution authorizing the City Council of the City of Trenton to hold an executive session which excludes the public. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Trenton, this body will convene an executive session in the City Council Conference Room, City Hall, that will be limited to consideration of an item or items with respect to which the public may be excluded pursuant to Section 7B of the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:14-12. General nature of the subject. The subjects to be discussed. Discussion. Attorney-client privilege. A discussion regarding a workplace incident and the legal exposure of the City of Trenton regarding that incident. Attorney-client privilege, a discussion regarding the procedure for issuing rice notices, stated as precisely as presently possible, the following at the time when the circumstances under which the discussion conducted at said meeting can be disclosed to the public, October 29th, 2021, or when the need for confidentiality no longer exists, whichever is later. The public is excluded from said meeting, and further notice is dispensed with, all in accordance with Sections 8 and 4A of the Open Public Meetings Act. Do I have a motion to introduce?
So moved.
I have a motion by Councilmember Vaughn. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Council President McBride. I'll now call the roll. Mr. Blakely.
Do we have discussion on this matter?
Council President McBride, discussion on the matter. Mr. Blakely would like to be recognized.
Yes, just go right ahead, Mr. Blakely, but I don't think everyone can hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, that's
A little
better.
bit better, sir, a little bit.
Thank you. So we have already heard guidance from the law department advising against this meeting. You can't have it both ways. You can't say that the law department is not giving you advice, but when you do get advice, you reject the advice. I would implore my colleagues to rice the person in question, and we all know who the person in question is.
Well, Mr. Blake, point of information, though, this is no longer a personnel issue.
Yes.
It is now an attorney-client privilege issue pursuant to the substantial amendment of the resolution, sir.
Yeah, that is hogwash. I think that is, quite frankly, a deflection from the matter at hand, and it's a disingenuous reformation of the resolution to avoid particular legal challenges, which I think it will not work. And so fundamentally, we should not be even discussing this issue. This is a mere allegation that has not been substantiated, and any discussion on this matter is not correct. It's not prudent, and it's another example of the outlaw nature of members of this council and how they refuse to adhere to the law. And this is just another example of just the blatant disregard for the rule of law. And we just had a situation a few weeks ago where council did not tell us about entering into an executive session. Now we have no reason to enter into this executive session, notwithstanding the bogus amendment that clearly seeks to accomplish the same ends as the previous resolution. And so I'm voting, and that's all I have to say. And we could go to vote if no one else has anything to say.
Good evening, Madam President. May I please be heard? This is Jacqueline Abdul-Razak.
Yes, go right ahead, Ms. Razak.
Thank you so much. Madam President, and good evening, City of Trenton City Council. The first part of the discussion states attorney-client privilege, a discussion regarding a workplace incident and the legal exposure of the city regarding that incident. It doesn't have alleged. So, I mean, that's disconcerting, or that's very concerning as the first pillar, but also, I mean, again, it clearly states a workplace incident and exposure of the city. So, I mean, it details that they're going to discuss a person or an incident pertaining to someone's employee and nevertheless make some kind of determination and discussion. I would implore the city council to issue notices to the person so that they can have an opportunity to be heard, the opportunity to be present, the opportunity to defend. One of the basic tenets of the law is when there's a taking. Whenever there's an incident when someone's employed, which could lead to them losing their job and, being the subject of anything that has to do with employment, we must send them notification. They must be able to defend. They must be able to decide whether or not they choose for their situation to be publicly outed. They may hire a lawyer. They may want it private. But please, I implore you not to do this. Again, it is clearly a violation. It is clearly a violation of rights. Secondly, it says a discussion regarding a procedure for issuing rights notices. I mean, again, this is not just a discussion. It's clearly going to be a discussion of an employee of the city of Trenton.
Point of information, it is not a discussion about any employee at all. Councilmember Vaughn asked for the amendment of the resolution to have a discussion as to what the procedure is from the legal department with regard to issuing rights notices. It is not about any particular individual or incident at all. At all. And she made that emphatically clear to me. She would like to know from the law department exactly what the stated procedure for rights notices are, considering, and these are her words, considering the conflicting information that she received on Tuesday from the law department with regard to rights notices and in comparison to the legal opinion given by John Morelli on September 3rd, 2020. And those were basically her exact words to me. So she would like to know the procedure, and she's asking you, the law department, for your opinion, not as it relates to any alleged incident, and that could be amended on the floor, or not as it relates to any particular individual or any particular event. She's asking for the procedure because of the conflicting statements given.
First of all, Madam President, may I please speak? May I please respond?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Madam President. As we know the law, and it's clear, rights notices must be given whenever there is any discussion with respect to someone's duties and with respect to someone's job and with respect to anything that has to do or that touches on their job.
Ma'am, point of order, ma'am. You are actually giving their legal advice in open session, which they are asking for you to give in closed session.
I am trying to protect the city. I'm trying to protect the city from a lawsuit.
I understand that, but you are speaking to the exact legal advice that they are asking for. And I'm asking for a point of order because they're asking for you to give that exact advice that you're giving right now in executive session. That advice about rights notices, not as it relates to any particular point or individual, but as it relates to rice notices at large, and to tell them that you cannot have that conversation, that's up to you, the council, to hash out. But that is exactly what they are asking for, not with regard to any individual, and they would like that in executive session. That's what the resolution.
Point of order, Mr. Conlon.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like, so I'm just asking for clarity, because we can't go into executive session to get the information if Mrs. Razat is saying that we should not go there to get that information. And so I'm asking Ms. Razat that if we vote for the session, what does that mean? That we'll just be in there alone? There will not be any attorneys there to give us the guidance as far as the rice notice? Mr. Conlon spoke to the fact that Councilwoman Vaughn stated the two different legal opinions that the council had received, and so she wanted a clear direction. And so you're saying that no, we don't need a clear direction, or no, that you're not willing to give us that clear direction into the executive session? Please let me know what you're saying here, because right now I'm perplexed. I'm still waiting.
Madam President, I apologize. If you can just give me 1 second, may I have my beg council's indulgence for 1 second, please?
Yes.
Thank you so much for your patience.
While we're waiting for Mrs. Razat to get back to us, I would like to take this time to express my concern, and this is why I believe that Mr. Kaloji was so important to this body, because it appears that when you start getting conflicting statements, and it leaves the council without a clear direction. When Mr. Kaloji was on, it took us 2 years to get Mr. Kaloji on board, and then he came on board, and now the council has no legal representation. So this just, to me, says to the administration and to the public that we need an attorney. The council needs an attorney. When Mr. Kaloji was on board, we were able to take our concerns to Mr. Kaloji, and then he met with whoever he had to meet with and came back and gave us an answer. Whether we agreed or we disagreed, we received a more straight, direct answer. And so I'm just saying to the body, we need counsel.
President McBride?
Yes.
I would like to just respond to that. The fact of the matter is, we should not be cherry picking the advice that we want to hear. And so what happens is, I've noticed that if you get guidance that you don't like from the administration, then you're in search of a conflicting set of advice, and then you take whatever advice that is more applicable to your particular position, and then you run with it. And so I understand the importance of having an attorney, but due to based on the city code, we do have a legal representation from the law department. That's statutorily, that's in the city code, that's in the city charter. And I'm just concerned that this body simply, when it doesn't like what it hears from the law department, it goes in search of another department. No one on this council has a law degree. No one has passed the bar. In fact, Mr. Kaloji, this is a great question. I know you have a law degree. Have you passed the bar? Are you a member of the bar currently? I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Who are you speaking to?
He's speaking to me, but my name is not
That's
Mr. Kaloji.
inappropriate.
My name is Mr. Conlon, and I am an employee, and you will not discuss my employment
That's your
or my
question.
name in this in open session, sir. I will not tolerate that.
I don't know.
Point of order. Point of order,
I don't know who
Mr.
he's talking to,
Mr.
but
Blakely.
he does
Mr.
not,
Blakely.
he's not a member of the New Jersey bar.
Mr. Blakely.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So here we are talking about rice notice. Where's the legal department now? Where's the law department now?
The question if he was a member of the bar. I'm asking because
No,
he's
no,
but you're talking about his employment.
Discuss me and my employment in open session. You will
Blakely.
desist, or you will hear from my attorney, sir.
Mr.
Call
Conlon.
him. He is not a member of the bar.
Point of order, Mr. Conlon, please. Mr. Blakely, you're out of line. You are out of line. Period. And you cannot keep on putting on a show for the administration and attacking the city clerk. You cannot do it.
Ask the question. That was a
You
question.
cannot do it, Mr. Blakely. And it will not be tolerated.
He's not a member of the bar.
It will not be tolerated from you, Mr. Blakely. You will
I
not,
don't hear
you
him.
will not under no circumstances
I don't want
attack
to hear
the
it.
clerk.
I don't want to hear it. He is not a member of the bar.
You need to
He
hear
is
it.
not a member of the bar. So
And I need to silence him because he doesn't have the right to attack the sitting clerk.
I'm not attacking him. I'm asking a question.
Yes, you are, because you have no business bringing
I'm
up
asking a
this
question.
person.
I am
This
asking
personality matter.
I am
You're
asking
out of line. You are out of line, and this is why we need an attorney. This is one of the reasons why we need an attorney, because you're out of line. We have nobody to check you.
I am asking a question.
No, you're not. You're being insulted, and you're going into personnel matters. And that's why we need to put a bar in
That
executive
is
session.
unacceptable.
Of the bar.
It's
That
unacceptable.
is unacceptable.
He's not a member of the bar. That's a fact.
Mr. Blakely, I will be suing you, sir, individually. Thank you.
Please,
Not ahead. The law
Mr.
doesn't represent me. You're not a
Mr.
member of the bar. That's a fact.
please.
That's a
Point of order, please.
fact. He's not a member of the bar.
Can we get back to the business of the city? Thank you.
Mr. I want to go straight. We don't have an answer from Mrs. Razak or Mrs. Samuel, so I'm just automatically taking it from the top that they will not go into this executive session. So I have asked them that question. It's taken them quite some time to get back with the yes or no answer. So I would like to.
Madam President, it's Sally Samuel. I'm sorry, I was not attending to that question because you had requested, the council had requested that I review the matter of the grant. So I had deferred to my colleague, Ms. Razak. So I'm not intentionally not responding to you, but I was working on something else, and I can, I can multitask, but I did not know that you were relying on me to respond regarding.
I was waiting for Mrs. Razak to respond. I was waiting for Mrs. Razak to respond.
Sorry, Madam President. Sorry, Miss Council Sally. I was something happened, and I was again just tending to my notes. But again, good evening, Council President. May I please respond?
Yes, please.
And Madam President, I apologize. It was some things going on, and I didn't think that it was appropriate for me to interrupt. The fact remains, Madam President, again, with respect to the discussion, it clearly says the discussion is regarding a workplace incident and the legal exposure of the city regarding that incident. That's very concerning, and it leads to specifics. And Judge, I didn't mean to say judge, and in that instance, I would just caution the city that it should take its time. It should notice the person and allow them the opportunity to be heard.
Thank you. So we have your response. Councilwoman Vaughn, you had a motion on the floor. The attorney representing the city this evening said that there is several concerning statement. I mean, there's several concerns that she has.
So Council President McBride and my colleagues on council and all the residents who are on this line, this council has statutory investigative powers. Any issue that is brought to this body by any resident or employee who are residents, okay, we are under obligation to investigate. No one gets a pass from being investigated. So if any issue, so in that resolution that I put forward, it clearly states that we would like to investigate an incident that happened at City Hall, a place that's funded by the residents and taxpayers of this city. So everybody works on behalf of that entity. So we have a right, and we will go into, I really don't care where we have this discussion about incidents that happened at City Hall. And we will work to be compliant. And that's what we've been doing. But all we've got is a hostile law department who don't want to do their jobs. So we will have to wait to deal with that law department accordingly. That's in court on November, the 13th?
Yes.
But in the interim, I would just ask the council president and the council vice president to do whatever they have to do in their powers to ensure that this council is never deliberate again or convene without legal representation. Because every legislative body in this country, in this democracy, has counsel, has legal representation. So Ms. Razak want to sit here today and say, oh, I want to represent the city. I want to make sure the city is not at risk. But your city is at risk, Ms. Razak, if your council that represents that municipal corporation doesn't have legal representation. Now you can come here and talk about and lobby for your boss and lobby for the mayor, but your obligation is to the residents and taxpayers of the city. So I have great concerns about sitting here, deliberating, having meetings, and voting on the city's business without representation, adequate, competent legal representation. And we don't have that today. And every single member on this council should be concerned. Every single member on this council should be concerned about that. Because the Board of Commissioners have legal representation. The State Assembly, which is a legislative body, has legal representation. The Congress and the Senate has legal representation. What makes the legislative body of the city of Trenton any different? And all the mayor and an administration has done is to try to nullify this council and deny us representation so we could be ineffective, so certain parties can have unilateral powers over this city and over the city's business. So all I'm saying to everybody tonight and the council president, we need to get legal representation, and I am willing to put my resolution aside to make sure that we are all in compliance with the law, including that law department. If they're not in compliance with the law, they're not doing their duties, and I will put my resolution, I will table it, but that is no indication that I will not bring it back, and I will investigate the parties that are involved in that incident, and I still hold Peter Cohen accountable. I asked Peter, I sent him an email today, he responded. He's reviewing, getting prepared to get the council guidance on the rice process.
Councilwoman Vaughn.
Yes.
Councilwoman Vaughn. At this point, would you like to withdraw your motion?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Conlon.
Yes, ma'am.
Withdraw that motion. For
it is done. It is pulled.
Session. And now I would like to move this meeting forward. I want to go back to Mrs. Sanders.
Mr. Council President, but that's only I'm only withdrawing, knowing that I'm going to have the opportunity to reintroduce it as soon as we get proper legal guidance on the way forward here.
I believe they gave it to you. I believe they said issue the rice notices and then discuss the matter is exactly what Jacqueline Abdur-Razak said, ma'am. So if that's your instruction, I'll do so for the next meeting.
Thank you.
So Mr. Collin, I would like to bring back Attorney Samuels. I know that we didn't go into executive session and she's looking over a 20-page document.
She's raising her hand, ma'am, for recognition.
Okay, go right ahead, Ms. Samuels.
Thank you, Madam President. So with regard to the document or with regard to the grant that is being considered tonight, as indicated by my colleague, Ms. Razak, it has a deadline. The application for the grant must be applied for by November 10th, 2020. The grant.
Sanders, we wanted to know the terms of the agreement.
Right. So I'm going to go through that as well. So the grant is through the U.S. CARES Act, which was passed by Congress earlier this year in response to the COVID pandemic. The terms basically are that the monies, which amount to a total of $3 million, notably Trenton received the most. It's the highest award in the state. But that the terms are that the spending must be related to COVID relief. So, for example, it must be applied either to housing, purchasing masks, treatment, testing, emergency shelters, alternative treatment centers, like tent hospitals, for example. It can go towards payment for support staff to do work or directly related to COVID relief. So that's really, in a nutshell, what the terms are. And all of those monies, the entire $3 million, must be spent no later than December 30th, 2020. But it is a grant. The city does not have to pay it back. And given what is going on now with the numbers of COVID going up, I think it would be a good thing for the council to support based on my reading of the paperwork.
Thank you so much, Ms. Samuels. I appreciate that. I appreciate you going through that document as quick as you did. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Madam President. You're welcome.
Mr. Cohen, excuse me, I apologize. Mr. Conlon.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we move forward with the walk-on?
Absolutely. I have a motion by you, Council President. I need a second to your motion.
Second.
I have a second by Council Vice President Caldwell-Wilson. My apologies, actually. Yes, we did write that. Okay. I'll now call the roll. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michel is absent. Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Council President McBride?
Yes.
So ordered, 6-0. The motion carries. Resolution 20-666 is approved.
Thank you. And so, we're going into public comment.
Yes, ma'am. Public comment is open. If you wish to be recognized by the council, please raise your hand. Garrett, who is speaking? Who would like to be recognized?
Go right ahead.
Ms. Corrett, please speak. You have 10 minutes to speak. Thank you.
Yes, Sherry Garrett, West Ward. In regards to follow up what Attorney Samuels was saying, it's a grant. The state, it's a grant. It doesn't have to be paid back, but and as she stated, it's a reimbursement. And whatever receipts, if it's not within the lines of what was specified that she just read off, they're not going to pay it. So that's how that works, because it's reimbursement. If the receipts are not correct, receipts submitted to the state for payment for money spent, if it's not within those categories, they will not reimburse. 2654. No, I'm sorry. I am just so thrown right now. I can't even get my thoughts together. I'm just going to say this. The local government ethic law, I am going to file a complaint against Councilman Blakely. This cannot go on. Like, every meeting is nonsense. And I think it's also a conflict of interest, especially if he filed a complaint against his colleagues, the council. I don't know how, and I think if you're paying for a lawyer, I find that I looked that up just to make sure my terms is, but it's an ethics issue. I would think it's a conflict of interest, and his behavior, if he's part of that suit, he's not supposed to be even making statements. If he's the plaintiff on that suit for housing, for the Department of Housing and Economic Development, he's not supposed, if I know correctly, I'm not sure, but the council needs to really check that. He's not supposed to be making offhanded comments and using bullying tactics and trying to control and sway the council and whatnot. I don't know how legally I don't know if that's legally now for
There's a lot of interruptions.
Doing that, but I am going to file a complaint with local ethics law, because the behavior, from what I'm reading, you don't give me confidence, and it's disturbing that you don't recognize, the councilman doesn't recognize that his behavior is a violation. It's a violation. And I'm just like, this goes on every meeting, every session. So I'm just letting you know, and if it continues, I don't know what to do, but if I even have to take it to the state level and the federal level as well, if I don't get a response from the local government ethics commission, I'm going to take it even higher, because this has to be shut down. This cannot go on. I am so rattled. I just can't even believe that this is going on. And he actually, I don't even know why he ran. I just don't get this. I just don't believe it happened. I'm letting you know, heads up, because this is a conflict here. Because if you're suing the council where you sit on, and it's affecting the monitoring and investigation powers of the council, you're crippling it. That's a conflict, and I don't see how that should be going on any longer. It can't go on. This is ridiculous. And I'm not a lawyer. And I know that that's not correct. I'm done.
Anybody else wish to be recognized by the council? Anybody else? Council President, nobody else, but I would actually like to, as the clerk, take this portion, the public portion, and make a statement.
No, I will not yield the floor to you, Mr. Conlon.
Yes, ma'am.
What I'm going to do is ask that, because
I would like to talk. Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I have
Can
a
you state your
question.
name and address? Can you state your name? for
My
the
name
record?
is Miss Dowling. I live on Clegg Avenue in Trenton, New Jersey.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Council President, Ms. Dowling would like to be recognized.
Yes, Ms. Dowling, go right ahead.
When I tried to get this through on Tuesday, but I had to wait till today to do this about our governor getting all the stimulant money for this and for that. But where does the grandparent receive anything for taking care of their grandchild that can't go to school and there's no centers open and my daughter has to go to work? What do I mean, is there any stimulant for a grandparent that has to watch their grandchildren because they can't go to school because of this COVID virus? And my daughter goes to work, so I set aside all the stuff I have to do to watch her because she ain't but 11 years old. Is there any kind of stimulant that I should be awarded for change? For putting my places where I have to go aside so I can make sure that I take care of her and she does her work and my daughter keeps a job? That's not fair to me, but it's something that I have to do.
That's something that you would have to have your daughter look under the CARES Act to find out, Mrs. Dowling. That's nothing that this body can address, okay?
Okay, the CARES Act.
Yes, the CARES Act. She would have to look under that CARES Act and see what is provided in that CARES Act, if any of that falls under the CARES Act, okay?
Okay, and I still have another question. I got an application for this TWW lead replacement. Where's my paper? For the lead replacement. Let me get it. For the TWW lead service line replacement, and I was told to fill it out. But through all that, then they're telling me that I may have to pay $1,000 to get my pipes changed. And like I said, I'm a taxpayer. I pay my taxes. So to get pipes changed in my house, I have to pay for it?
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
The clerk will get your information and someone
I have
from
it already, ma'am.
someone from the water department will be reaching out to you.
Okay, so I'm going to get his name now.
Ms. Dowling, I have your telephone number. I'll be reaching out to you tomorrow.
And what's your name?
Water Department. My name is Matthew Conlon. I'm the city clerk, ma'am. And I'm also going to get you in touch with somebody at the governor's office for your other issue. Okay?
Okay, I appreciate it. Matthew Collins?
Yes, ma'am. I'll reach out to you tomorrow. I'll be in the office tomorrow afternoon, okay?
Should I get your phone number?
I have yours, actually. I have yours.
Well, like they say, two heads are better than one, so what if I get yours too?
Absolutely, ma'am. You can reach me here at the city clerk's office at 609. Mm-hmm. And my direct line is 815-2575.
815-2175?
2575, ma'am.
2575. Okay.
That is my direct line. So if I'm not here, leave me a voice message and I will get back to you, but I'm going to call you tomorrow anyway, okay?
Okay. I'd appreciate that, and I thank you so much.
You're very welcome, ma'am. Council President, does anybody else wish to be recognized to speak before the council?
Seeing that there's no one else, I would like to move to close the public comment.
Do I have a second?
And
I second.
Yeah, I need somebody from council, ma'am. Do I have a council member who wants a second to close public portion? I need a second to close public portion.
Second.
I have a second from Council Vice President Caldwell Wilson. All in favor?
Aye. Mr. Conlon, I am going to ask the body if they would agree to waive the civic comment this evening. I don't believe that we need to host a civic comment this evening. I'm gonna make a motion.
I have a motion from Council President McBride to waive civic comment, to move past civic comment this evening and move it off the agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Council Vice President Caldwell Wilson. I will call the roll on this. Mr. Blakely, sir.
No.
Ms. Blakely votes no. Mr. Harrison, sir.
No.
Mr. Harrison votes no. Mr. Michal is absent. Mr. Rodriguez, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez votes yes. Ms. Vaughn, ma'am.
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn votes yes. Council Vice President Caldwell-Wilson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Caldwell-Wilson votes yes. Council President McBride.
Yes.
Council has voted to suspend the rule with regard to civic comment for the evening, and we are not going to have civic comment. Apparently, the agenda is done. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A motion to adjourn by
Second.
Council Vice President Caldwell-Wilson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
I have a second by Councilmember Rodriguez. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, folks.
I need one more. The Council President.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none opposed, we are adjourned at 7:37 p.m. Thank you.
Matthew, can you call me?
Yes, ma'am, I will.
All right. Good night. Good
Good
night.
night, everybody. Thank you.